The good news, this is where the good news kicks in. There are Republicans that are finally speaking out in ways that I've been begging for them to. I mean, they'll say some things here and there. I think we're getting to the actionable stage now.
Have you seen any evidence that there were survivors on these boats, on this particular boat? Have you seen any evidence that there were survivors? What intelligence have you seen?
I've been offered no briefings, and I think that's purposeful because I've been skeptical of this. So no briefings have been offered to me. We are asking for them. We are supportive of the Armed Services Committee looking into this. But this has been very selective in briefings that have been given to people, primarily given to people who are already apologists for the administration.
And do you have confidence in the Defense Secretary at this point?
I'm very, very concerned about an order that would say kill them all, kill them, after they've already been wounded, after they're drifting apart. But for some people, this is distinctly different, the second strike. I think both strikes are actually illegal. I don't think you can just name people and say, well, they've got drugs. Well, where's the proof? That's an allegation. And these people are 2,000 miles away. People don't realize these outboard boats have no capability of reaching America. Take them like 20 stops to refuel to get up here. In all likelihood, none of these boats are coming to America. It's a completely made up and false sense that, we're at war, we can do whatever we want, but if Congress wants to vote on it, no, we're not at war. So they're at war if they can do whatever they want with no oversight. But if Congress were to get involved with oversight, it's not a real war, it's just a war where we name people who we don't like, we call them terrorists, and then we kill them, and then if we see them floating around in the ocean, we then re-bomb them. It's a crazy situation.
Nothing but truth from Rand Paul. A solid minute and a half of truth. He blew up the whole lie about how they're saying that they didn't apparently do that second bombing, but also violating the whole war, the normal rule and guidance of war in the first place. And also the fact that these guys couldn't even have made it. He blew up every aspect of the thing that these guys have been saying. But the moment that they even talked about how they're bombing people and it's so great, that's illegal already. We just got to this point because of this story about that second double tap that they then had to kill these other folks. And how there was a lie in the first place about these being drug boats headed to the United States. He blew that up. It's impossible, sorry for the term, but he dispelled that as well. Norm Eisen went over on, I think, News Nation. He pointed out what I've been saying since the very beginning, again, on the legality of any of this.
Constitution gives war powers in Article 1 to the Congress. We have never in American history seen a president who claims that there is authority in the Constitution to strike civilians. It is not written in the Constitution. It is not implied in the very limited authority that the president has, the commander-in-chief power. It's not part of his responsibility in the Constitution to conduct foreign relations. There's no precedent for what Donald Trump has done here.
All of it is illegal. All of it. The original first strike is illegal. It's extrajudicial killings. They just killed people and they claim we get to do that because we told you that they're terrorists. And how they become terrorists is us just saying that they're terrorists. Courage, especially amongst politicians, is one of those things that starts building once 2 or 3 of them begin to have, a little bit of it building inside of their chest. Don Bacon has now joined that party.
We don't kill 2 survivors who are not posing an imminent threat to anybody. And so best I can really say, I just want to make sure I get the facts. But what is being reported is true, someone is wrong and they should be held accountable. It doesn't sound good. And if somebody actually did this, they should be held accountable. And it should be at the top, not the bottom.
You think that he should go if he's involved here?
Secretary, absolutely. I felt that way under Signalgate. He should have taken responsibility then, and he didn't.
Apparently, Pete Hegseth should be gone. That's according to Don Bacon. He should have been gone after Signalgate. Why weren't you joining the fight then? Why weren't they joining the fight when they thought then is when Pete Hegseth should have been gone? But it gets worse. So this is when it's getting really bad. Because as I've been saying, and many other folks have been saying, these are war crimes. So something needs to be done about that. Not just claim it, but then also do something about the war criminals. Oddly, you remember this guy? Maybe you guys don't. Andrew Napolitano, he used to work on Fox News with Pete Hegseth.
I wish the White House would reveal to us the laws on which the president is relying. He says he has an opinion from the Justice Department, but neither the Justice Department or the White House will offer it for public scrutiny. And it gives me no pleasure to say what I'm about to say because I worked with Pete Hegseth for 7 or 8 years at Fox News. This is an act of a war crime, ordering survivors who the law requires be rescued instead to be murdered. There's absolutely no legal basis for it. Everybody along the line who did it, from the Secretary of Defense to the Admiral to the people who actually pulled the trigger, should be prosecuted for a war crime for killing these 2 people. I don't know where this is going to go. Republicans in the Congress seem to be as exacerbated by it as the Democrats do. I think it's getting beyond politics now. The killing is out of hand. And this last one, in which Pete Hegseth first denied that he gave the order, and then the White House said he did give the order, and then the White House said it was in self-defense. Self-defense. You got 2 people in the ocean clinging to a burning boat to stay alive, and they're going to be killed for self-defense? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like this, the phrase we've been saying for the last 10, 11 months. None of it makes any sense. Andrew Napolitano calling Pete Hegseth, who used to work with, which he doesn't really want to say, a war criminal. These are war crimes, bro. It's time to do something about war crimes, because we have to deter people from doing those things because, it's against the law. That is, unless you're a fascist. So which one is it? Which one is it going to be? You could listen to these fascists and see if this makes any sense.
So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. The rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call.
Main point here. Trump designated these cartels as terror organizations. Therefore, we can claim anybody's a part of these cartels and therefore call them terrorists. And what do you do with terrorists, Pete Hegseth says? Just like Al-Qaeda, we just kill them. So as long as I point out and say, you're a cartel member, have we heard that? They've been doing it as they've been doing these immigration sweeps, as they've been doing these mass deportations. Everybody is a cartel member. And we've seen the number of innocent people that they've sent off to CICOD and other prisons across the world, deported them to third countries all the time based off of this basic and blatant lie that they're just terrorists. You know who else they said are terrorists? That then also you have the right to kill randomly? The Democratic Party.
The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization.
You guys remember that? And do you guys also remember when they said the Democratic Party and anybody that they disagree with are a bunch of terrorists? We should designate them terrorists. It means that they're going to start coming after folks here lethally to kill folks and claim they're terrorists. Antifa.
Antifa is going to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. This is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years. And today is the day that we have a president that won't tolerate it.
Anyways, back to Napolitano, because again, as Pete Hegseth pointed out, This is their process for how they determine who's a terrorist. Donald Trump just says so.
You're saying that's not a good defense. This is a war crime. That from you.
Correct. Correct. Even Congressman.
They're heavy words.
Very heavy words, which is why I prefaced it by saying it gives me no pleasure to do it. I'm accusing them of crimes that could incarcerate them or even execute them if this stuff was enforced to the hilt. I wish it hadn't happened, and I wish I didn't have to say it, but I have to be intellectually honest about what I'm observing here.
You don't see any other side that, because you're very well versed in the law. We know that. You don't see any other side of argument for the administration other than a war crime is committed. There is no other avenue to look at this.
Look, narco-terrorist is not a legal term. It's a political term, and using that political term does not justify.
But if they're labeled terrorists by the administration, doesn't that indeed indicate that they are?
No. Only if they're engaged in violence can the military kill them. The military can't
But it
legally.
seems violent if they're coming here with drugs that could kill Americans. Is that not so?
Well, they're 1,500 miles from the United States in a speedboat with a 50-mile distance. It's inconceivable it could reach the United States.
Okay.
Man, that anchor really tried. He tried like 3 or 4 times. Well, but what if Donald Trump says that he can kill them? Okay, what if Donald Trump says that they're terrorists? Okay, what if Donald Trump says that they got tons of drugs on their boats and they're coming to the United States? He shot down all those because they're such elementary arguments, because he keeps regurgitating elementary arguments from people like Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, elementary minds.